Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet-fighting robot series. Well, as we now crest the final week and we put the Rockman X collaboration behind us, albeit the models will still be around for about one more week or so, it looks like things are going to be going back to business as per usual. So maybe a new model here or there, an event to run a couple things and keep things fresh, but doesn't look like we're going to be seeing anything overly exciting for a while. But despite that, we do still have a number of rather exciting events, probably not geared towards seasoned veterans that have been playing for a while, but we still have a number of very exciting things for both them and newcomers all the same. As you see here, everyone's favorite sea cucumber and producer San himself is finally making his grand appearance, or at least the avatar he chose for it. Wanderer is officially joining the game as a model that can be pulled for, as we start this week into a two-parter, or what I believe to be a two-parter, as we celebrate Medarot 4, and a lot of models around that game in particular that made very impressionable appearances and lasting impressions on the community as a whole. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in officially to what was starting and announced with, of course, with the gacha banners. And we do have a pretty fair number of them this week. All of them will be meta change capable. So if you aren't planning to pull for anyone actively, this will probably be a good skip week for you as a forewarning, because just as a friendly reminder, meta change banners are a little more unforgiving in terms of pity, and you either pull all of the set all at once, or you either get nothing at all. But to start that lineup, we are beginning, of course, with SCM-0 Wanderer himself, with a kit of Guard Provoke, Double Provoke, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Super Armor. Now, and for those that have played Medarot 4 or knowledgeable in what Wanderer brings to the table, it also is capable of meta-changing into a more Sea Cucumber Slug-type form. And in this form, it exchanges its kit out entirely for a defensive stance of Counter Guard, Mirror Guard, First Aid, Tank Legs maintained by the leg ability of Trap Buster. Now, to explain Guard Provoke briefly, because it is a brand new skill being introduced in the game, basically put, it's just Provoke, which is just cast Taunt on an attack target, but also applies a stack of Guard Boost to self, which will really easily tie together the overall defensive capability and mindset that Wanderer brings to the table while he's on the field. In addition to Wanderer, we do also have reruns of the Medarot 3 and 4 starters, that is KBT-05M Saikachis with Missile, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Gunman, who is capable of meta-changing into a vehicle-like form with Missile, Crossfire Set and Release, Wheeled Legs, and the leg ability of Absand. And then, last but not least, KWG-05M Dorcas, the Nightly Stag Beetle type, with Radar Sight, Sword, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of B-Loader. Now, for those that are in the loop and are very well aware of what Dorcas brings to the table, he too is capable of transforming into an alternate mode. In this form, he exchanges his kit out for Hammer, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Breakneck. So even just between these three models alone, you have a pretty diverse array of what everyone brings to the table, and you really can't go wrong either direction you want to go. Whether that be Wanderer for your defensive orientation, for Saikachis for your long-range balance, or for Dorcas if you want overall air and sea air and sea coverage. You really can't ever go wrong with any of them and what they bring to the table. In addition to these three, we do also have a rerun of all 4 of the Heavenly Beasts from those games as well. And starting that lineup, going from left to right, we are starting with SCK-0 Spink, with Confusion, Double Fire, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Torturer. Spink also is capable of transforming and getting a kit of a Repair Plant, Double Flame, Flight Legs, but maintaining Torturer. Next up, we do also have BYC-0 Thunder, the White Tiger, with Slip, Double Wave, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Captor. Capable of transforming into a multi-ped form, Thunder exchanges her kit out for Freeze, Stat Cleanse, Slash, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Blowbeat. Third of which, as the Black Tortoise, we have GNB0 Basalt with Destroy, Double Guard 500, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Hoplite. Basalt is also capable of transforming into a tank-based mode with a kit of Sword, Double Guard 500, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Super Armor. And last but not least, SRU-0 Longon, the Azure Dragon, with First Aid, Double Field Repair, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Fairy Charge. Now, Longon also is capable of transforming into a sea-based form with a kit of Melt, Restore, Rebirth, and Sea Legs, and the leg ability of Fix Plus. Now, just like it was with the first three of the banners for this week, you really can't go wrong with any one of these particular models either when it comes to the Heavenly Beast, because each one has a particular specialty that you can use very easily and quite efficiently if used correctly. But if I did have to give a particular priority list for which one you want the most, I would honestly have to give that list to Basalt specifically, given that he is basically one of the big three when it comes to defenders across the game. And if you don't see Virgo or Jackal, you absolutely will be seeing Basalt, no ifs, ands, or buts, for his fantastically well-rounded and high defense-oriented stats. And Tank Leg with Super Armor, with a very solid defense skill, you really can't ever go wrong with that. Behind Basalt, I would have to give a next close second to Longon in this particular, primarily because male healers, especially what Longon brings to the table, is kind of hard to find, especially between field repair with first aid like what he brings to the table. So both of those are going to be your two really big strong points. Thunder and Swing in particular will be nice to have, but probably not as high of a priority in my personal opinion. Whereas if you go for Basalt or even Longon, if say Saikachis or Dorcas or even Wanderer don't really pique your interest, those are the two big ones you're going to really want to shoot for. One final note on gacha banners as well for this week. The Rockman X collab models, Full Armor X, Baba Pride, Elite Zero, and Fixer Sigma, they will be sticking around for one final week. So if you have not had a chance to collect them all, or even just the one that you need or want, this is kind of your last chance. So make sure that you do collect what you can, and try to pull your rubies toward those faster than any current banners, because unlike the collabs, these will always come and go periodically as events see fit, or as they decide to pass one along in a particular week. With the fierce battles we have going on this week, it's also going to be a very diverse array of what can be brought to the table. Starting that lineup with this top row is TOT-0 Yellow Turtle, the original Tortoise type, with Heater, Double Laser, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Bullet Rain. Everyone's favorite original generic tank type, TND-0 Tank Dunk, with Napalm, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, also with Bullet Rain. And then on that last top row, we have CCD-0 Semi-Cicade, with Melee Trap, Double Break, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Nest. On this bottom row, we start off with FSL-0 Fancy Roll, the original Magical Girl type, with Virus, Hammer, Napalm, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Mascot. Next to her, we have WEA-03P2, Chisaku-2, the prototype, with a kit of Charge Buster, Press, Power Rifle, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Trap Buster. And then we also have, lastly, GBD-01 Blast Beat with Guard Boost, Double Break Hammer, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Barrier. Now, honestly, between all 6 of the models here, you really can't ever go wrong with any of them, because all of them have something really useful to be had across the board. Yellow Turtle, for instance, with very solid, overall lower tier, I'd say, laser arms, with a very solid tank leg and a good ability for shooters. Same can be said for Tank Dunk if Turtle isn't quite necessarily your aesthetic. Semi-Cicade, very solid for overall coverage as well, and covers against his own self with Melee Trap and Nest, and then Break, of course, for your heavy punish. Fancy Roll if you just need an all-rounder for your female team, just to kind of fill in a blank. Shisaku-2, again, same case if you mostly need parts to fill in blanks that are still high artillery, even if they are relatively tough to raise. And then, of course, Blast Beat for heavy punish with Break Hammer, and an overall tanky setup with Guard Boost and Tank Legs, also with Barrier, even if it is kind of redundant in that case. But with that being said, if I did have to give an MVP of the week to somebody, I would honestly have to give it to Yellow Turtle and Semi-Cicade in particular, given that even though Tank Dunk and Yellow Turtle both have the same kit, Yellow Turtle's a little easier to use in my personal opinion. because lasers, even if they have a Metaforce charge, it's not hard to meet that, where with gunpowder, it's kind of hit or miss depending on how you choose to use it. And Semi-Cicade for heavy punish as well, I really don't have to say more because of that. And melee traps, they massively buffed trap damage a while ago, so that also is a very good way to maintain some passive aggression while you're also on the field. I would recommend getting at least the parts to all of them just to say you have them, but I would have to say Yellow Turtle and Semi-Cicade are the two you're going to want to focus on the most. Now, in terms of other game-related stuff, naturally, because we do have Wanderer making their grand debut, and, of course, Producer San himself, we are also getting a Super Invasion that will be featuring Wanderer as well. No real telling what the particular rules and modifiers for that will be, but I do highly suspect that given that Wanderer is a very heavily defensive-oriented type, you are probably going to want to make sure that you pack somebody with, say, a Rock Crusher Metaforce, so that you can guarantee that you can break something and probably keep him on the field, break a lot of what he brings to the field, and keep him a little easier to take down and prevent him from changing. I do highly suspect there's probably going to be other things like, say, no stat cleanse allowed, or certain shields, or whatever the case may be. So I expect this one's probably going to be more annoying than it is aggressive, or even inhuman in some cases. So just make sure that you prepare for that once it does officially go live. In terms of event stuff, this is what I said is going to be mostly geared towards newcomers and rookies more than seasoned vets. Because with this particular event, which is a first wave of a Medarot 4 related event, are all going to be rerun rewards. So these are all things that veterans that have been playing longer than, say, a year or 2 years, probably already have at least one or two of these elements to a point. But if you do plan to participate anyway, this first half of the event allows you to earn rewards such as the Cow Medal, which is a guard nature with a mastery in melee setup and defense, with leg masteries of biped, wield, and tank, so of course a best in slot there for Wanderer. You can also earn CTR 0 Kucentaurus with shoot boost, Gatling, rifle, multi-legs, and aim, as well as the original Wyvern type WVN0 Ku Wyvern, with Hyper Crept, Double Wave, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Rumbling. Lastly, you also have the opportunity to earn Medarotters Hakuma and Shuri of the Heavenly Beasts and their handlers, both R and N rank specifically in this respect, to add to your feats. In addition, we also have a rerun of all 4 of the handlers for the Heavenly Beasts joining a specialized Medarotter banner as well when this goes live. So if you want the specialized versions, then you have the opportunity to go after them as well. The event itself will be milestone-based, so very similar to how the first wave of the Rockman collab and the third wave, minus the boss fight, will be participating. So your sets are going to be encouraged across the board if you are going to participate and maximize those bonuses. As you see here, for bot bonuses, Wander will give you that 15% bonus each, Psychachis and Dorcas at a 12%, the Heavenly Beasts at a 10% each, Ku Wyvern and Kucentaurus at 8%, and the Fierce Battles at 6% each per part. For the Medarotters, 20% bonus if you have the SR version of Hakuma or Shuri equipped on the team, 15% bonus for the SR versions of Ikki, Kokuen, or Mizuchi, 10% for the R rank of Shuri or Hakuma, 5% for those, 8% for R rank of the other Medarotters, or 3% for the N rank respectively. So it's actually going to be a very diverse set this week. Like I said, if you've been playing longer than, say, a year, you probably have a multitude or a variant or a diverse variant of these parts as well. So it really shouldn't be too hard to put something together, despite this event being very heavily meta change based. For newcomers, this will be your opportunity to at the very least earn the Cow Medal and the 2 event reward bots. Maybe not the rest itself, such as because it's going to be a very gacha heavy week, but still worth it to farm all the same so you have those parts on hand. Lastly, with other event stuff, there are a couple other things they mentioned to go in tandem with the event. We do also have event missions making a return as well, but again, it will be business as per usual, so chance to earn some extra ruby shards and some gacha tickets for the Spotlight banner. The event itself is going to be super easy. Just participate a certain number of times, collect a certain number of rewards, and complete the Super Invasion. That's basically it. Really, really easy stuff. And that's basically free ruby shards and gacha tickets that you can stockpile on or use to help fill in your part libraries. One other thing that was mentioned, we do also have Medarot 4 BGM packs that are going live on the web store as well. So if you are a fan of Medarot 4 and want to add those to your BGM list, your library that you can pick from, Those will be on there as well for purchase at any time. I do not believe they mentioned a limited time for those going live, especially given that the Medarot 2 ones are still on there if you have not purchased them. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and try for that and collect them. If not, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. No real rush to collect them. The other big piece of news is that Saikachis and Dorcas will be getting the tune-up treatment at long last, making them the second and third model respectively that are meta change capable and getting the tune-up treatment. The first of which, of course, being Blossomale, the pink devil type from the DBL series. So a lot of their bonuses are actually not too bad. Nothing overly negligible aside from maybe an extra bonus or two, but mostly geared toward keeping their armor and their power gains in going, because compared to most other models of their families, they are kind of squishy and easy to take out relatively quickly. So some of those extra tune-up bonuses may really come in handy in helping keeping them in the field longer. Not long after this video goes live, I will have my regraded breakdowns on them respectively, so do stay tuned here on the MNN when those go live to see my new feedback on which bonuses are worth it and which ones really aren't. One final big piece of news they did announce for game-related stuff is we are getting some minor changes to game mechanics. In particular, 3 skills listed are getting some changes, all of which are getting buffs to make them a little easier to use or a little more aggressive when meeting certain thresholds. In particular, Sujigiri will be getting a buff that removes the cooldown penalty. So this means it's a skill you can use very freely back and forth whether you hit the damage modifier or not, and you really don't have to worry about getting slapped or punished in the backside for a failed attempt or a successful attempt and you just didn't cover them. Clock Rage. Now, we've only seen this move a couple of times, so for folks that do not have, say, Tira Megatron or say Vitalis, you don't need to worry about this one too heavily. But for owners of either that are making use of it, they are adding pierce damage to Clock Rage specifically to make it a little more aggressive and more user-friendly on the field. So very good buff to make use of for that, especially for models that like to have a very high heat and speed stat so that they can punish people for having that higher speed. Lastly, Revenge Sword, which we have not seen too many times either in particular, fairly common recently with Black Cruz. They will be bumping the damage bonus from ×2 to ×3 upon being unlocked, which, as a reminder, is 50% of that part's HP or under in order to trigger it. So much more aggressive on the field once that does officially go live. Again, if you do not have any of these skills, you may or may not see anything noticeable right away, which is fine. But for those that are knowledgeable in this and have these particular parts, this is something you may want to double check on and just kind of test and do some more damage snapshots just to kind of see what your new damage bonuses will be once everything does go live. On the community front, as always, we are always looking for translators to assist us with any of our endeavors or current projects. Right now, Medarot 3 is still in that tentative completive stage. We do need translators to kind of help play test and look for bugs and grammar checks and everything like that before we can officially mark it as complete. Once that's done, there already has been work started on Medarot 4 and just a little bit of interest in the reloaded manga, but we need manpower to do those so we can complete them, such as Medarot 4 and 5 and Navi and everything else of the like. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning, or Japanese, or have some time on your hands, or even if you know somebody that might be interested in helping, definitely send them our way and ask around. Join our Discord in the link provided below, and just ask around and talk about it. And we're more than happy to fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point. Now, with the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I really couldn't let the Rockman X collaboration pass without highlighting a piece of art from it. This one here by Twitter user Kulasusu, highlighting Baba Pride and Fix Your Sigma, which was a very iconic duo in the Rockman X series as well, not just in the collaboration. Even though Vile in particular was definitely subject to the Sigma virus in later elements as well as it developed, it was also well known that Vile himself was, in general, very bloodthirsty and ruthless. And I do recall it was even mentioned as flavor text that not a lot of Maverick Hunters like to work with him because of that. And of course, having the Sigma virus and a reason to go rogue was all the more reason for him to have some fun. And of course, with Fixer Sigma there as the source of the virus, it only makes sense that you'd be seeing these two together on any team that you see them on. And of course, this one here by Twitter user Madama Usagi, with everyone's favorite Western dragon type that finally made a grand debut back at New Year's, of Bahamut, specializing in its very high temperature kit that it brings to the table and what it can do while on the field. So wonderful work to both these artists as well. Definitely give both of them a follow if you'd like to see more of this wonderful art in your feed. Because I love showcasing art like this and talking about it, and just kind of giving a spotlight for a lot of those artists in the community that may not be as known, to kind of help put some information and attention their way, and just kind of give a little love to what they bring to the community. One final note to mention as well before I close out. As always, I am always open for commission for 2D or 3D based art. I can do standard 2D art with varying levels of detail, with transparent or background art as well. I can do live 2D art. The models will be ready to rig, so you will need to find a rigger for them. But they will also be fully cut up and ready to go. I do also do emotes, and I can also do 3D models, props, models, fully rigged, textured, ready to go. So you can drop them in any animation program, which is SFM or MMD or VR chat or whatever you choose to use. So you can use them basically immediately. And I keep my prices relatively affordable like this on purpose, so if there's a newcomer that wants to try to get into the content creation game, they can reach out to me and expect some quality work without it breaking the bank doing so. So definitely reach out to me on Discord or on Twitter if you'd like to probably ask around for that and get some more information, or even try to make something happen. But with all that being said, I do believe that covers everything for this week's episode, so as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there that I do also run, which, as of today, officially breached over 12,000 members. It's still growing by the day, and I'm honestly astounded by how fast it's growing. Like, it's honestly amazing and shocking to me at this point. So, wonderful work to there. I'm so proud of that group for how far it's come. If you can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below. This allows you to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, contests, fan art, my weekly episodes, or even a very dedicated Western Medarot S community. That's the first place you're going to hear anything before it goes anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at Isagamikura. If you have any questions, feedback, comments, or have something in particular you'd like me to cover or talk about, or even just get my thoughts on things, definitely feel free to reach out to me. I leave my DMs open on purpose for that very reason. Also, if you are a streamer, VTuber, YouTuber, or content creator of any kind and would love to collaborate, whether that means having you here on my channel on the MNN, of which there is always an open seat for a guest host, or if you'd like to have me stop in on yours for a friendly chat or a game, I would love to coordinate something with you. So definitely reach out to me on Twitter or Discord as well, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. One other thing to mention as well, just as another closing random thought, I have been streaming for the last couple days officially on Sundays for those that have not been paying attention. I have not been really focusing on Medarot related stuff with the streams as of current. Maybe down the line I may play a Medarot game in particular, but right now I've been having fun playing Dark Cloud 2 and just kind of hanging out with you guys. So I'm really enjoying that, and just want to kind of give a shout out to that as well. If you'd like to see more of what I do outside of Medarot stuff, tune in on Sundays, usually between about 2 or 3 for about 2 or 3 hours, where I will play a game and just kind of hang out with you guys and chat while I'm doing that. Lastly, do give these wonderful community pages a follow as well. Proto Dude, who does a lot of #1 news sources for Mega Man and Rockman related stuff, much like I do with the Medarot stuff. So just one final hurrah to them as well, and just to kind of help keep in touch with the Rockman side of things, if that's where you got your first fix. And specifically, I am going to highlight the Dragon Ball official channels as well, primarily for the reason of Mr. Toriyama's passing, just so I can say a couple thoughts about it. And it's absolutely heartbreaking to hear that he passed. That man was an absolute pioneer. To say he was a pioneer and cornerstone to what we have today would be the understatement of the century. Half the stuff we have today, a lot of famous mangas and series we have, or even other things that may not even be involved, have come out of the woodworks and saying that Mr. Toriyama has inspired them, either with a reference or even just a dynamic that he put together that he liked. So I may not personally have been involved in the Dragon Ball series, as a lot of people might, but I do also want to say is kind of a farewell and a thank you to Mr. Toriyama as well for the wonderful world and the glimpse into that beautiful mind of yours that you created, and that chance to actually get to know a lot of the characters and the universe that you created that stemmed so many things that we have today. It's just a massive understatement of the century to say that he was a cornerstone. Like I said, he was pivotal in dozens and hundreds of different things, and it really is sad to see him gone. And my thoughts, my prayers will be with the family during this time, with the loss of that family member. But also just to kind of say thank you as well for everything that was there. I most certainly am not the only person of hundreds of thousands of millions that are thankful for what he brought to the table. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.